Pegasus. That's not what they do in Alabama.
Pegasus? No, Pegasus? No, yeah.
Pegasus.
No, that's not what this means, okay? There's a different meaning, okay? That's another podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's edition of the Riffs
and Rhythms podcast.
I'm Kevin McLaughlin.
And I'm Paul Robertson.
What's happening, Paul?
I'm really excited about tonight.
Tonight is going to be fun.
I cannot wait to talk to our guests. We have a trio. I'm not saying it's unfortunately. It's not ZZ Top or Rush or any other trio. But we got a really cool.
There's a lot of words coming out of your mouth, but you're not
I know
really
I'm nervous.
saying
That's
anything
why, man.
all.
I'm nervous. Yeah. Continue on, please. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Make fun of me.
Yeah. And make fun of him in the comments too.
Yes, please.
Look at him. God knows he did.
Speaking of comments, you're the comment king. Actually,
I have been getting some comments.
Yeah, wear a helmet. Damn it.
No.
According to the internet, you should be wearing a helmet.
Nope, I will not.
Yeah, and actually, I think Devin, our Ghost on the Aux over there, producer, actually commented on our Instagram post about Kevin's thoughts on wearing a helmet or why he shouldn't wear a helmet. And Devin actually wants to know, is there waves underneath that skull cap?
No waves. We were just talking about the smooth slopes are in nowadays, so I've got it.
Yes.
This is a slide. When the top of my smooth head meets the slopes of the smoothness,
That asphalt will.
it's a ride of to be remembered.
I'm sure it will be. Yeah. So you haven't seen that Insta post. It really took off on Instagram, but the other social media was actually so. But Instagram, I don't know why it took off on Instagram, and it's the same post, same comments, same hashtags, everything. And it's weird how different social media platforms pick up on some of the shorts differently.
Yeah.
But
I want to thank everyone for their caring comments about my safety on my motorcycle. I'm honored.
I think we do need to have a live stream rebuttal episode to put yourself out there. I think we invite you to be in the chat and watch our live stream where Kevin will empirical evidence you about.
Empirical evidence is the kind of evidence that the evil emperor from Star Wars has been able to amass.
Speaking of empirical evidence, you're also going to the UK, so you'll be able to use the empirical system.
Yes, they use the empirical system over there in the UK.
Yes. So
The U stands for empirical.
not even sure how to spell that.
Just
but
kidding.
Anyway, so all right, well, empirical. Yeah, so I think we just get right to it and introduce.
We
our
do
guests.
have some guests.
Yeah,
let's talk
yeah,
about
man.
that, Paul. Would you like to introduce our guests?
Yeah, so we have on a podcast here tonight. We have a guest that I originally met through a couple past guests, actually. The guys from Angels of War, Kevin and Kevin. So that was actually many episodes back. Actually, it's back when we had the couch.
Back to the couch.
Right, we used to have
days,
a couch in the studio here, and it was a white couch, and we're not sure why, how, and why it got white.
It was brown from the factory, but after it was here for a while,
right,
it turned white.
because this is definitely a '70s style room that we're in that we inherited. But yeah, so Kevin and Kevin,
The casting couch.
and I was in the band Angels of War, and I met one of our guests through those guys through Angels of War, and then through the years kept up on some of the music, and then most recently. Ran into him at an event down there in Rock and Roll Ribs back in December. It was a big event there. I met some of the band members and their new band, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, and then the rest of the bandmates as well too. I didn't get a chance to meet them that day because there was a lot going on, and it was a great event. And but we're going to learn more, and then particularly. To learn more. I think we've got some stories. We're probably really going to hear about some really good stories from, the guys here, and particularly one of them. But so let me go ahead and introduce to the podcast here. We've got the members of Pegasus band here. We've got Nay.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invite. It's awesome being here. Thank you so much.
You got it. We have the Beast. The bass player, of course. If I have to say the bass player, that's then you're not paying attention enough. How you doing, the Beast?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
Ready to rock and tell some stories and
Well,
Have a good time. Keep drinking, right?
I know. The truth seems flowing, so we're ready to hear the stories.
You said we're not hiding the fact that we are drinking a little bit.
That's right. I think we all have our So cheers. Yeah, we'll do. And then Mike. Yeah. So let's make the Mike.
Yeah,
Mike the drummer. Yes. Before we finish and cheers in there. So do you need a drink, Mike? Are you good?
Sure, I'll take a drink.
Okay. All right. So we got what do we got? Any glasses left?
Yeah, there's.
Oh, there. Hold on. Would you like a skull glass? We should have offered everybody the skull glass.
Oh, yeah, I'll take a skull glass.
Drink from the skull.
Yeah, that's rock and roll.
Fresh out of the box.
Nice.
That's
This head was in the box.
This looks like somebody who didn't wear a helmet on their motorcycle. So
So, Mike, doesn't that look like something that we use all the time?
Exactly.
You know,
I
you
was
bring that
thinking
out,
exactly
and that
about
looks exactly what
right,
a...
so-
you want some ice, Mike?
Sure,
All right.
sure.
All right, here.
Yeah, risky. This is how we do our monkey head.
So for those few people on Earth who don't understand the Beast's reference, would you be more specific as to who the kind of rock and roll royalty we have in our building today?
Yeah, so again, with a name like the Beast, you can only assume that we're referring to jazz music. With a name, right? And so, but yes, Dave,
We've
the
got
Beast,
Dave, the Beast Spitz here.
right? And we're going to talk a lot about past, present, and future here. I know, and we'll let Dave talk a little bit more. But he's been in a few bands you may or may not have heard of before. So we'll get a hold on. Hold on, he's going to squeeze.
Yeah, ring that out, ring that out.
This is a Jack Daniels. Is that how you milk a Jack Daniels cow?
Yeah, he was milking it. I've never seen that done before. Good job.
Yes, you ring out every drop.
There you go. All right. Well, here we go. All right. Everyone's got a little cocktail now. So, cheers, everybody, to a good podcast
guys.
here. Cheers. Let's hear the
Thank
stories.
you again.
You got it. So, we don't have the proverbial couch anymore. So, we're going to ask you guys to lay down on it and say, where did it all begin?
Yeah, tell us
Where did it all begin?
Tell us about your relationship with your father. No. And we can't forget, we've got the ghost on the ox.
That's
here.
right. Yes. So he's
Fashionably late.
Yes, thank
Fashionably
you.
late.
he's cheating on us on other.
I know.
He's cheating on us on other gigs that are actually paying him. So
Yeah, we braved the big storm and the traffic coming up here, too. So
yeah.
It was raining really bad.
Yeah.
Pretty busy.
it was black like on the turnpike,
Yeah.
man. Boom.
In his defense, he would have left
Yeah.
to come here a lot sooner, but he didn't.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, Pegasus, it's the new band, right? And then, like I said, got some things coming up here. We'll talk a little bit about also. But yeah, how did Pegasus get formed? Right. Let's start maybe there, right? And then
Yeah,
we'll
you take this.
Basically, we were playing in Angels of War, me and Beast, and George Bersegi, who's not here tonight, with Kevin Frugier and Kevin Robb in Angels of War. But both Kevins, they joined another band, and they started getting like pretty busy. And I had a personal thing that I needed to back up a little, and I couldn't play that much. I couldn't commit with the band that much. And I asked the guys, I was like, listen, if you guys want to take a break, we can take a break. If you guys want to, do something else during this, please feel free to do this. And this is what they do. They have to play. They love to play. And I never wanted to hold them back. And naturally, what happened was, thank God they got pretty busy with their schedule, and they could not commit regularly with two bands. So we decided, me, George, and Beast, find another drummer and a new lead singer, not another, a new lead singer and a new drummer, to start a new project. We decided to don't use Angels of War because if we decide to bring Angels of War back tonight, we can do it.
right.
We're still great friends. There is no hard feelings. We didn't, people talk. They say, they fought. No, nothing happened. Since Joe Suma left and George took his place, just because Joe, he wants to play something else and we couldn't agree, in set list and that kind of stuff. And Joe started getting a little frustrated with that, and I understand. But the band also wasn't feeling that we should play those songs. So basically what happened, they did what they wanted to do, and they are extremely successful doing what they do because they are just great, and I love those guys. And we decided to do a side project, knowing that we can bring Angels of War back anytime.
Right.
Anytime we want. And when we started this new project, we decided to, play what we love. It's not only about, let's please the crowd. Yeah, we want to please the crowd. Of course, we want to do that. But the main reason that we are together is just to get together and play the music that we really love to play.
We wanted to get
Regardless.
heavier. That's part of it too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we
We
like
wanted-
to play heavy.
Yeah.
So basically what happened, being honest here, it's really hard to get gigs when you play
Yeah.
what we play.
Right.
Right. It's, and I understand that. I think that everybody does.
Yeah.
But I don't want to play what what would please the venues, but it doesn't give me anything.
Yeah.
It's my time practicing. It's my time jamming with my friends. It's my time out of my house going out to play a gig for songs that I don't like to play. I'm not doing that.
So let me ask you, Nate, though. So that's an interesting, because our past guest, Denny was talking about he doesn't gig every weekend, or he picks his his shows that he wants to do, puts his band together, and so forth. So that's I think a point you're making is you're choosing what you want to do in the style, and you don't have to be playing every night or want.
Exactly.
Now I'm not taking anything of those that
Yeah.
do that or the other guys, but that was just, I guess, to the point. Your point.
Of course, it's awesome being out there and playing, for the crowd.
Yeah.
But I think that we got to the point that for us, what really matters is what we feel when we get together and play.
Yeah.
So the joy of playing for one person, for 100, more than that, or us in studio, that's the joy.
Yeah.
I always record our jams, and it's so amazing. The vibes that we can build up together is just freaking awesome. In 3 hours of jam, it feels like 10 minutes, and I don't want to go home. I want to just keep playing. I was showing them a few part of our rehearsal last time when we played for the very first time the new song that we're going to bring for the next
Hole in the
show,
Sky.
Hole in the Sky. My experience that night was probably the best jams I ever had, ever, including shows or whatever.
Yeah.
The feeling that I had, I am a huge Black Sabbath fan. Look up at my arm. So playing that song, that's my very favorite Iommi riff. That's what I play guitar because of Tony Iommi. I have his fretboard and tattooed in my arm because he's the man. And I was playing with Beast, who already played with Tony Iommi. And I saw when we were playing, I have the video here, I can show you if you want, when we were playing facing each other, carrying the rhythm together. When you feel the connection, it was so freaking tight and awesome and heavy, and the
cool.
tones were just fucking great.
Yeah, it was a great rehearsal.
I had to hold. You can see the video, see my face. I'm trying to don't smile, and I'm trying to don't cry. Because it was just fucking awesome. I'm not jamming with someone else. I'm jamming with the Beast. I'm not jamming with people. I'm jamming with my friends. I'm not playing music that people love. I'm playing the music that I love. And I'm doing this because I love, for any other reason. And when you put all this together and you sound the way that you want to sound, and you get huge compliments from this guy here because you were sounding good, in the end of the song when he, comes to you and say, dude, that sounded fucking great. it gave me like, what else I want?
Right.
You know,
No, that's
it's not about playing the gig. It's about feeling that from
Right.
the music that you play, regardless in the studio, in the show. It doesn't matter. That's the joy.
Yeah.
You know, that's the joy. That's the reason that we never killed Angels of War, because I have the same chemistry with those guys too. I told Mike when we started playing, Mike, I was so concerned in playing with a new drummer because Kevin is he's a different animal. I love that guy. I started playing the drums and studying a little more drums because of Kevin. Every show, every gig, looking back and watching Kevin playing, it was a lesson.
and he plays so effortless.
Effortless.
Right, yeah.
And smiling. And that guy sings like a bird.
Yeah, right. He sings. Or he's a singing drummer.
It's
right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. He's super talented, and it's fun because it's funny because our very first rehearsal, we were jamming something, and he stopped the song in the middle and said, "Guys, you and Joe, there's something off there." What are you talking about? Keep the beat going. This is your job, drummer. What,
And another guitar playing no respect to the drummers, huh?
what are you talking about?
Our life story. Huh?
And then I'm telling you, dude, from that moment, I start calling from, all the directions that he gave me that night and everything else. I started calling him Maestro, because that's what he is.
Yeah.
Kevin Frugier is just fantastic as a drummer, as a singer. He used to record for tracks that we could not figure out how to do the backing vocals. He used to record his parts, my part, Joe's, and everybody else, sending to us, guys, just sing this. That's it. Learn your part. Don't worry about how to figure this out. Here is your key, singing
Right.
this note. That kind of drummer, so...
Let's get back to how we regrouped.
I'm sorry, you're right.
We're getting off on a
You're
weird
right.
tangent there. So
You're right. It's just because the two bands they mean the same to
yeah, no,
me.
we're still
yeah.
friends with them.
Yeah, right,
We go
yeah.
out to
Same
their
thing.
shows and stuff.
Yeah.
But why I told this, I started talking about this because of Mike. I was afraid that I would be like, oh my God, can I play with a different drummer? Because I felt very comfortable and safe playing with
Right.
Kevin. Then Mike came to play with us very first time, my house. Remember that? I was like, man, this is going to be weird. And it felt weird. Not bad. Weird.
Different.
Different.
Right.
Very different. That's normal. I played with Kevin for, 5-6 years, I guess. But then with the time, when we start jamming and building that confidence and understanding how this new bandmate play, and the way that you have to adapt yourself to make this happen again in a different way, you start understanding that you have to improve a lot or do something different to upgrade your playing to match with the new guy.
So Nate, let me ask. Let me kind of key on this here, right? So you're talking about from a guitar's point of view about this and jamming with a new drummer. Obviously, the Beast, right? You've already been playing with Dave, for a while.
Yeah.
But I guess Beast.
Yeah.
Now you've got a new drummer. Can keep following this thread here, right? With Nate, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what
Yeah,
you're saying, and they kind of touched on it.
Yeah.
Anytime you change a member, it's going to be different. It's going to be a little weird.
But maybe for you a little bit more because the rhythm
Well,
section, right?
We are the
Yeah,
rhythm. We
yeah.
are the backbone of
Yeah,
the band.
right.
So for me, especially, I think that's what you're driving at,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So for me, as the bassist and the musical director, pretty much of what we do, it's a democratic band, but I have more experience, so and anybody can speak up and say whatever they want. It's not,
To make you
not like-
understand what he's saying,
Right.
he is our personal counselor. Every jam is a class, like a master class. Every jam, you leave that studio knowing that you learned something new.
Yeah, it's rock campy.
Exactly.
right, and that's part of
And
it.
you know how he does. He sits right in front of Mike, and he stays like, Mike, again, over again. No, this is fucked up. No, don't do that.
You
Don't
got to
fuck.
get it right, man.
That's
So-
not the way that he should do it. But, dude, this man, dude, thank you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it. I've been doing
It's
this
just different.
a long time, obviously, and have a lot of experience. I never toot my own horn. You know, I don't need to really. You know, people know about me. They should know about my history. That has nothing to do with it. For me, I mean, we don't make any big money playing these shows. I'm doing it, like Nate said, because we love the music. We love entertaining and performing for people, because that's what it's all about. And you got to love the guys and that you're playing with. Otherwise, I could stay home and watch Conan the Barbarian. Yeah. That we were talking about. So the point is, when you bring in a new member, okay, especially me with the drummer, it's going to take time for us to get to know each other. You know, Mike hadn't been playing in bands, you know, recently before this. I think George knew about Mike.
Yeah,
You know,
George brought Mike.
other guitar player, George, who couldn't be here tonight. We love you, George. We miss you. That you guys knew each other, and when we're getting together, like, okay, well, the other guys are gone. Who are we going to get?
Yeah.
You know. And George brought up Mike's name, and then we ended up getting together. And it's going to be a little weird and strange. You're not used to playing. He's never played with me before. You know, it takes time to get to know each other.
Yeah.
And Mike's a great drummer. He's a strong personality too, which I love. I don't want somebody just sitting there doing everything that I say, or that's not music. You got to be yourself, man. You know, we were talking about this before we went on air about creating style. You know, and creating the chemistry in the band and choosing the right people to be in the band to create that chemistry. So those are like 8 different topics there.
Yeah.
But, back to what we were saying, it's important and it takes time to get to know people.
Yeah.
And then me and they were like, well, who are we going to get to sing? That's the hardest part. You know, nothing against Mike and drummers. There's a lot of drummers out there. Very few
Before we
singers.
jump to Stefano, let me finish with Mike
Yeah,
here.
go ahead.
Now, I told Mike a few jams ago, right after we played, I called him and I said, dude, I have to tell you something. I felt like this and that in the beginning. And then during the process, I felt this way. But tonight, I felt just the way that I wanted. You know, and thank you for being a band. Thank you for taking the project. Thank you for being with us and working so hard. He learned all the songs that he never, ever played.
Right.
One of the freaking songs that we play.
Yeah.
He learned every single thing.
Yeah.
And this is already huge, And when you put this all together and start getting fluent and, getting all melted in, and
Right, reading each other's minds.
you feel that you belong together.
You're in sync, right?
Like I said, it takes time to gel, and it's not just rehearsals. That's just the tip of the iceberg. That's just the beginning.
Yeah.
You really start to gel when you start doing some shows and everything breaks in the smoke machine. You can't see nothing. Some guys keep, blasting the smoke machine or whatever.
That's a guy smoking a joint on the side of the stage.
Whatever. It's rock and roll. Anything that can happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
So getting the experience of actually doing shows, that's when you really start to gel and learn. That's when you're supposed to.
Yeah.
And that's why just recently we became more of a camaraderie and more of a real band, getting some shows under our belt.
Right.
Yeah, and Mike has come along. Let me tell you, Mike is so dedicated. And he's a pain in the ass at the rehearsals because he's listening to the songs with his earbuds and shit, and we're trying to work out different parts, and he doesn't stop.
And he's doing his rudiments everywhere.
Yeah. He's got the towel on the snare drum, which is cool. I don't mind that. He's dedicated.
Just trying to be considerate. That's
That's all. But all that stuff is what contributes to make the band great when you're live on stage.
Right.
That's what it's all about.
So Beast, let me circle a little bit here, and Kevin, jump in if I'm not stealing too much mic time, which is okay for any mic time I can steal from you is perfectly fine as being a lead singer.
I had a long march. My voice doesn't have much in it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did like 11 days of straight back-to-back shows at Bike Week.
23 shows in March.
Yeah.
But it's something this is what the show is about. What you're describing, Nate, is exactly, and you guys, and all of you are describing, is like what our whole concept of the show has been is like that camaraderie, right?
Yeah.
And if you're having a great time, like, hey, it's time's passed by, you're feeling great, you're enjoying, there's a positive and all those things. You're like, this is super cool. I'm jamming, I'm making music, I'm hanging out with my buddies. I like the people I'm with. That's half of it. You can do
Sure.
that. That's big plus. And going through. And Dave, as you mentioned there, right? Obviously, we'll get into a little bit here about your past and your history and people you've played with. But what you described there is that being able to be fit all together, and where maybe some of the things in music past in bands you've played in, where you've come into established bands, as you already mentioned, right? Black Sabbath, right? Again,
Yeah.
you've come into an established band and come into theirs. Is there a different chemistry and feel? Maybe as an example, when you kind of joined that band. And
Every band has to be a different chemistry and
Yeah.
feel. I mean, that's basically what you're asking. Of course, Sabbath is just one thing. I've been in so many bands.
Right.
People know about that.
Yep.
Most of it, so you have to. When you're joining an existing band, like I've done a bunch of times, Sabbath, Great White Lion was there from pretty much almost the beginning, but it's a little different. But when you're joining an established band, you're like a hired guy. You're a hired gun, And I grew up learning all those riffs and songs. I knew all that stuff, and that's a whole other story. But when you're doing that, you're adapting, to that situation. And you have to adapt to each situation as a musician. If you're going to, trying to make it, what we used to say, try to make it back then. And I had a lot of good lucky breaks, but it's also, it's who you know, it's luck and timing, it's the universe, the stars, but mainly it's you. How well can you adapt was kind of what you were driving at. For each situation. You have to be able to get along with people. We were talking before we went on air about some of these great guys, drummers and stuff that are on YouTube, whatever, like I said, they're great, and there's always going to be somebody better, whatever that means. But that doesn't mean that's not what it's all about. How well do you play with other people? Yeah. So when each band that you join or you're hired to join or whatever, you have to adapt to that situation. Now here it's similar, but we're all more, we know each other locally. These guys weren't in a million other bands and stuff, but that doesn't matter. I could play whoever I want. People call me all the time. But Nay and I go back for a while. Mike, we just met in the last year and a half or so, or whatever, but I get to choose who I want to play with because these are the guys I want to play with. Do we get along? Do we have fun? Do we party? We hang out, we go to dinner. I know their families. That's really, all those factors are what contribute to what flows off the stage. Because if you're a jerk or you're in a band with guys that you can't get along with or you're fighting all the time, it's a waste of time. And you know what? What flows off the stage is that natural groove, that natural camaraderie. People are out there in the crowd. They come because they want to party and hang out and get away from their dreary lives or whatever, which is cool. Escape, if you want to call it that. But they come out because they want to be entertained. So we're not just musicians. And I stress this all the time. We are entertainers. When you get out there, even if it's on like small stages, that we have to play down there. There's not that many places to play. We're not playing arenas. We're playing like, small to medium-sized venues. You got to go out there and entertain people. And when you see a Pegasus show, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see me boogieing right, with my foot on the riser right up to Mike and my hand smacking his cymbals and me and Nate bumping into each other and me and George, we're leaning on each other. We're showing you we're having fun up here. You wish you could be up here doing it.
I think that's the key,
That's
right?
the point.
We're not a jukebox.
Right, yeah.
That's what it is.
Right.
You guys are having
live-
if you guys are having fun. You're in line, and that's where you're like,
Exactly.
I want to be part of that, or
It's contagious. It's
exactly,
contagious.
right.
It's contagious.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
people come to see. Because there's not a million, but hundreds and hundreds of bands down here now.
Right.
Cover bands and tribute bands and schmilka bands, whatever. And there's not that many places to play.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of competition fighting for these gigs. Believe me, nothing against club owners, but they don't pay us much money. And we got to hire sound guys, to give away almost half the money that we get to begin with. So we're not making any money doing this. We're doing it because we love the music, we love playing together, right? And we love performing together.
And everything, if you understand from a different side what a band is, if you go out and see a band playing, you're gonna see like 2 hours of a show, and you think that this is a band. This is not a band. When you are in a band, you are spending time learning songs.
Yeah.
In a group chat, saying, no, I don't want to play this. No, let's put this one. No, let's take this one up. Let's drop this song. Let's do this or that. It takes time. Then you have to drive to your rehearsal. It takes time, and it costs money. Then you're going to rehearsal for 3 hours, and you're going to drive 1 hour again back home, driving back home. This is time again. This is money. This is the time away from your family, from your house. And if it's not fun, why the hell you want to do this?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about going to the gig, play a show, and come back home. No, being a band is when your bandmate that becomes your brother calls you and say, "Hey, I need this or that." You are there for him. This is being a band.
Right.
When it's your bandmate birthday, you take him out for lunch.
Yeah.
This is being a band. You know,
Exactly.
it's not about learning songs, play a show, and go back home. If you do this, dude, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully someday you're gonna have some fun playing. You know,
And it's that camaraderie back to and Kevin and I are not in a band, and we don't cross paths
Together.
yes. But I think we can agree. We get what you're saying, and we sometimes even think, like, even here on the podcast, we have that same camaraderie. We've had our share of drinking fests, and hanging out and certain things, and he knows my family, and
Yeah.
and I think it's you want to hang out with people you enjoy to be.
of course.
Right.
No,
Right.
life is too short
Yeah.
to do anything.
Absolutely.
That's where
Yeah,
it starts,
yeah,
really.
yeah,
And again, that's what is, when you have that and the right people and that camaraderie we're talking about,
Yeah.
then if it's the right people together and everybody's doing their part and doing their homework and learning the thing, and then we get together and we make a gel and we work on the rhythms. That's a little too fast. Oh, whatever, fine tuning, you know what I mean? All that stuff is what, again, flows off the stage. I like to put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the people in the crowd, they sense it. They're not, there's musicians there, but most of them aren't. They're just rock and roll people. They're lovers, rock and roll music lovers or whatever, and it's a lot of it's like subliminal or subconscious
Yeah.
to the people in the crowd. It doesn't matter. That's cool. That's cool because as long as they're there and they have a good time and they're enjoying themselves and they're supporting the bar, they're paying admission or they're drinking and eating or whatever, and then they're gonna come back. We kick their ass,
Yeah.
which we do every time. They're gonna come back, and that's what makes it fulfilling as musicians for us.
Yeah.
Because like Nate said, it's not easy. And in my age, it's really not easy, believe me. It's harder to move around, the amps and stuff. I don't have like full-time roadies like I used to. I got to schlep the stuff. And then when I get there, my bandmates help me, bring it in and stuff, or other friends come by to help out, So, and that stuff's important too. People that are close and friends with the band that come out all the time, and we love people like that, like my buddy Johnny Smoke and Rick Baum and Scotty and David Lovett. These are just some of my friends. I'm plugging them a little because they're nice to me all the time, and they come out and support the band, and they spread the word about Pegasus too, and that's important.
That is
Totally.
huge, right? Is
Yeah.
that you've got your locked in group that are there to support or there to stick around to the end, at the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning when and you're trying to wrap up and you've played your
Yeah.
whole time.
And there's another thing.
Yeah.
When people feel your vibes in a band, and when they see that we are like real friends, we are not bandmates. We are real friends. We hang out. We spend time together. We hang out with our families and stuff. When people notice that, they enjoy the band in a different way.
Yeah.
I already noticed that. Since Angels of War, actually, because we had the same vibes in the band, everybody, good friends. So it's really nice that people come to us and say, "Oh, dude, it's so nice the way that you guys play, but it's so nice, seeing you guys down here talking to us and hanging out with everybody. We see that you guys are friends." Yeah, of course we are friends.
So, all right, Mike,
Yes.
I'm going to try to give some drum love here, okay?
All right.
All right. So, from your perspective now, coming into this craziness, right? So from your perspective, coming into the band here and joining, the guys have already been together.
Don't
a little
forget to mention your very first show.
Right. Well, it was, like they were saying earlier, George, which is our other guitarist. I know him, and so I knew, Angels of War, and he also plays in another cover band called Covering Fire, and so I would go to, to support him, and I'd go and watch his shows and stuff. So Nate kind of knew me. He knew who I was.
Yeah, I remember that you went to Angels of War. show
Right.
a couple
And So yeah, but with George, I've we've been able to mess around and play together. So that's how he knows that I'm a drummer as well.
It's not the drumsticks in your back pocket, right?
No,
They
no,
give away.
no. Yeah. And so, yeah. Then, so prior to meeting George, I had my kit set up at home, but I hadn't really done any projects or serious projects for a long time. Like the last serious band that I was in, was from like 2005 to 2009, right? And then after that, me and my roommate at the time, we would still just jam together, but we were just doing our own thing, and sometimes we'd go play at open mic nights or whatever. But that was it, And he played bass and guitar, and I'd play the drums, and we would just write instrumental music. It was all original stuff, We didn't really do any covers, yeah. So then, I don't know. It was probably like about 6-7 months ago.
Longer.
Longer than that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Almost a year, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess almost a
so.
year.
Yeah.
George sends me a text message. He's like, "Hey man, we're looking for a new drummer for Angels of War, man, and I want you to come play drums for us." I was like, "Oh, all right, cool." I was excited about that. I was like, "Awesome, we're gonna get to play again, cool." And and so then he sent me a list of like whatever the first 6 songs that he wanted me to start working on, and got the dust off the drum set, and and just started practicing, and and a little while, and now we've got, I don't know, like probably like almost 30 songs.
Almost 30, yeah.
Almost 30 songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that we've gotten down, and so and like they mentioned earlier, like some of the songs, hell, I had never even heard of,
Right.
As far as my background getting into music, I grew up in South America. I'm originally from Ecuador, and things arrived there fairly late compared to when stuff would come out here in the U.S. Right, so we're maybe about a year behind with stuff like that, and a lot of it would all just be really the mainstream stuff, So I mean, yeah, I knew who Black Sabbath was, and who Dio, and I'd heard some stuff, but I didn't really know all their discography, or all their songs. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't even realize that Ozzy was in Black Sabbath, just because I didn't know, So yeah, but some of the stuff I hadn't heard before, but listened to it and learned it, and
Isn't it there interesting to kind of pick on that particular spot that you talk about? When somebody learns about music of an artist they get into, and they insert themselves into this timeline of, like, Ozzy's a great example, and then you are new, and again today, because of the internet and so much availability of information, things and so forth, it's kind of so much easier. But like a kid growing up in the 80s, like for me, like my entry point into Metallica was about the Justice for All. And then when you find out about back catalog, you're like, holy shit.
Right.
This stuff before all this. Cliff Burton and and all that. It's like, it's a different thing.
It's a different band.
Yeah, different band. But then you start deep diving into, learning more and similarities.
Yeah.
So it's not, I totally understand that, right? Is if you entry point into a band or something and you find out that, so I totally get that what you're talking about there about finding out.
Yeah, like
Ozzy was in another band that was,
and like the same thing, like with Dio. I mean, I didn't know he used to sing for Rainbow. Hell, I didn't even know who Rainbow was. Right. And then, but then one of the
Well, just I'm a drummer, man.
now it is all being revealed tonight.
And guess what?
I think I've
He
told
nailed.
him.
He nailed.
I've told him the story though, but I thought I didn't know who Rainbow was, but then the song that they picked was Stargazer.
Oh,
and I'm just
God.
like, why do I know that? And I started going through my stuff, and I'm like, Dream Theater covered it. And that's the only reason I knew that song. So that was a big
That's interesting.
help
That's
to me
interesting.
learning the song.
Yeah.
You know,
Isn't that so much like that today? Is so many like say maybe the younger generation finds out about music. Oh, did you ever hear about? Well, a good example is I think maybe did similarly is what's the Stranger Things. All of a sudden, everybody learned about Metallica because Master Puppets was in the.
My students. My students in the very next week after that episode, oh my God, I want to play Master of Puppets. Why everybody wants to play that right now? What's happening? Then my kids came to me like, Dad, I want to learn Master of Puppets. But why everybody wants to learn that right now? Then I learned from one of my students, no, that's a big thing because of the Stranger Things.
Okay, boomer.
Crazy, man.
like another example of that happened to me was like the first time I heard War Pigs was the Faith No More cover,
Oh yeah.
you know. And to me, I was like,
I have that album.
that's such a
That's great. Yeah.
Angel Dust?
No,
Angel Dust.
Angel Dust. Angel
Oh no,
Dust.
but it was. I don't think it was.
No, it was
on
the
that
first one.
It was on the first one on Epic.
Oh,
Epic.
epic.
Oh my God,
Epic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with the fish, the flame falling into the water.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Mike Patton swears that fish was not out of the fish tank for more than 2 seconds, right?
But yeah, you know, it was
great album.
You know, it wasn't until later on that I found out. Oh, it's a cover. You know,
Right.
of and so, but yeah, you know, it's. I guess it's just like I was saying. You know, music got down to South America a little bit later. You know, you're kind of like behind the curve. You know, there wasn't, you know, like, you know, rock clubs where you could go or places where, you know, I mean, you're in a Latin country.
So the
you
big
know,
record
it's-
companies didn't put a lot of energy into marketing in Ecuador?
No, not at all. Anything down there was pirated. Even the official licensed record.
Dude, in Brazil is the opposite.
It's all pirated, you know. I
In
mean, I
Brazil is the
remember.
opposite. Huge metalhead people.
Oh, right, yeah.
Brazil is
Right.
I mean,
insane.
it's changed now. You know,
Sepultura.
now they've got you know,
Hell yeah.
they've got a lot bigger rock and metal scene, you know,
Yeah.
because now it's a lot more accessible, you know.
Right.
But back then it wasn't, so we didn't. We had to take, and that was like the competition with my friends. It's like, oh, who could find the most information about whatever band we liked, or who could find.
So
the new
which time period? What time period are you talking about here? Like
We're
90s?
talking about
Yeah.
no earlier than that. This was probably you know, in the 80s.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah.
Well, that's how pre-internet, and we're
Right.
all old enough to know what it was like to learn about new music, or say, hey, check out this, or a bootleg, or you listen to the.
Well,
this
it was
beat.
the fan magazines at
Right,
the
the
7-Eleven.
fanzines. Yeah, exactly.
Right, Circus, Hit Parade, Rolling Stone.
Yeah.
See, but we didn't get
Kerrang,
any
of
of
course.
that.
No, we never had that in Brazil.
We would.
Yeah.
We
I mean,
never
we
got
did, but it wasn't accessible. It wasn't.
that. Yeah.
And other than that, it was just, you know, mainstream rock radio, just a couple of stations, depending where you lived in America anyway. New York, you had more stations, but, you know, that's, like you said, that's how we learned about bands. And going back to my early days, we used to just go to the local Samsondale music store and just thumb through the albums. That's how I discovered a bunch of bands, Blue Oyster Cult, including. I'm like,
Yeah,
oh,
I mean,
that's a
how
cool
many
album
bands did
cover.
you get just because of the album cover?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
still do
Kurt
that.
was huge.
I'm
Huge
still
reason.
doing that.
Yeah. Again, vinyl's back. We've talked about this before about the vinyl is back, right?
Yeah, vinyl's
So,
huge.
Yeah.
now.
yeah.
I
But
love
yeah,
it,
but you're 100%.
That's
Yeah.
how you. And it was
Missed
word of
out.
mouth. And we were talking earlier about cassettes. You would burn your vinyl LP onto a cassette.
Yeah.
And you would give it to your friends and, hey, check this out. Look at this band I just heard about. You know, so word of mouth with cassettes or loaning your albums out to people and stuff. You know, that was the only way.
High
you found
speed
out.
dubbing cassette
Right.
boombox
Yeah.
to record.
Oh, this is
And then,
way before that.
and then when the CD to tape came out, that was even.
yeah. Or hold on, let me record the song off the radio to the tape. Right.
Right.
Well, originally, we used to record from the album onto reel-to-reels.
Right.
Because we had it, my home was like stereo heaven. That's a whole other stereo. We had like 3 houses, and we had like 1 million stereos. And my dad was like a total audiophile. So we had I had this advanced, what you call pretty fancy equipment.
Top of
back
the
then.
line back then, right?
Yeah. So we would record the LP albums at home onto reel-to-reel. And then me and my old guitar buddy, going back, we were like 12 or 13, we used to record onto reel-to-reel and then play it back at half speed to figure out the riffs.
Right.
Zeppelin, Johnny Winter, Cream, Hendrix, Zappa. That's how we used to learn. We didn't have pitch controllers.
Right. So
now you guys can do everything.
really high. Right?
Yeah, it's just like 3 3/4 or 1 7/8 or whatever, and that's how we because we couldn't agree. Oh, that's not what he's playing. And turn that shit down to half speed, bro, and it's going. Whoa, it's very hard to. I don't know how we even did that stuff, but that's how we used to do it, man.
I think today they do it on YouTube where you can play the videos now in half speed or whatever.
you can do anything,
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but
Yeah,
still, but that's it.
back
But
then,
that's
now you can
interesting.
play it at
That's
half speed without changing the pitch.
Yeah, they can do it, but we didn't have that, man.
That's crazy.
You had to put your time in and really work at learning those riffs.
Yeah.
You found a way. You
I
just
killed a lot of
figured out a
records
way.
by bringing the needle back.
Exactly.
Bringing the needle back.
Yeah, we did
Getting
that
that
same
to
thing.
play the same riff 1,000 times until you finally
I
get
would
it.
do that. I would record the riff on a tape over and over and over so that I
Oh,
can just
wow.
play.
Like a looper.
Right. And then just loop it to try and learn
Mm.
apart,
I remember once I called to the radio station and I requested a song because I needed to learn the solo of that song. This, Layla by Eric Clapton.
Yeah, Derek and Dominoes.
Dude, I called there, they played the song, and then the guy started talking over the solo. I was like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah.
And I recorded because I had my tape ready to record. And then I called them after and they said, dude, I was recording the song. Can you please play the song again and just don't talk during the solo? I really want to record this. I just played, I'm not going to play again.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you get.
So yeah, that's how I learned the solo for Layla. With the guy talking over the solo. It's like,
So Nate
seriously?
admits that he's bootlegging.
That's how it was done. When I was a kid, I had friends, mostly girls. They would sit by the radio for hours waiting for them to play their song, and then do the same
record.
thing.
all the time.
Call in, make a request, and then sit there.
Yep.
That's so funny.
We used to have the
I used to love to
remember
do
the
that.
King Biscuit Flower Hour. They used to.
Oh, they played that on Sunday nights.
Yeah, and Don Kirshner. Obviously, these was some of the earliest live broadcasts. Other than going to an actual concert,
Right.
So we used to wait and record those. I used to have quite a few cassettes of King Biscuit with Kansas, Todd Rundgren.
Yeah, I remember
all
listening to
those
that
great
stuff.
bands back then.
Do you know what I was-
The Who, also the Who.
So Beast, and again, maybe you and
Yeah.
Kevin probably will know the references. Maybe it's a Saturday or Sunday night. Was the Westwood One, performances
With
on
Redbeard.
the radio and listening to live recordings
Yeah, that
of
was-
concerts? It's like that's
Yeah.
Westwood One. That was one of the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
You had King Biscuit, Westwood One. I mean, some of them were national, events where the radio stations across America, would air them,
Right.
Simultaneously or at different times or whatever. But some of them were more local. You had New York ones, the double PLJ
Yep,
and
right, yep.
NEW. They would air, concerts too. But they would just kind of spring it on you usually.
Right.
Hey, we got a surprise, event, and boom.
it happens.
But to record them, we were talking about recording them on cassette or whatever. You'd have to know in advance what time they were going to do it.
All right.
And you have all your stereo set up and your fresh tape, all
It's a
leadered
whole
up.
process, yeah.
Yeah.
The best thing happened when I owned, we've done an episode here talked about technology and music, how it's advanced from whether it's a record or I brought my cassette. I still have my cassette, my Sony Walkman from when I was in high school, and my Sony Discman, but was my Sony Walkman. Somehow I dropped.
Don't tell me that is the yellow one The
No,
waterproof
no,
one.
no,
Yeah,
no,
that was the first one that I had.
No,
That was afterward.
Yeah. So this was
The original Walkman was not waterproof.
Dude,
This-
it was like this big. The thing
So
was
no,
like-
actually, it was about almost probably the size of the phone, right?
Oh, no,
and I
mine
can
was
do
like
like
this big.
There's a button to
Huge.
hit like reverse, so you can flip to the other side without actually
Without
taking
taking
it
it
out.
out, right.
But I had dropped it at some point, and something happened where the heads must have thrown it off. That it can play the tape backwards.
So you're hearing side A backwards instead of side B.
I was here
forward
like
or
you
whatever.
know I was here again. We're gonna get the reference here, Beast, right? It's like get the gun. You know? No, it's like I didn't hear any message in there. It told me go do your homework. Go do your homework.
It said Jesus loves you.
That's exactly
That's
that's what I
it.
heard.
That's what it
Yes. While I was at Altar Boys, right? No, this is great. So Pegasus, you know, you've been now about a year-ish, right?
Well, we didn't mention Steph, the singer.
Oh yeah, yes,
So we
yeah.
wanna get him,
I met
Stefano.
Stefano. Yeah,
So
yeah,
Stefano,
yeah.
when we were in Angels of War, I think that Stefano he did a couple gigs with us when Kevin couldn't sing.
Not when I was there.
No, it was with Patrick still.
Yeah. Because I didn't know him. You told me about
Yeah,
Steph.
exactly. And I saw Stefano first time singing with Bloodshot. With Bloodshot. Fantastic. I was watching that guy singing, not only because of his singing, but his stage presence. He's a showman. And he's a character. He's like a super cool guy, super fun dude. It's nice to jam with him. And he engaged with the crowd like super well and real quick. When I saw him performing with his very first band, I was like, man, you know, the very first guy that I'm gonna call if we need someday, that's the guy. And Kevin, I think that Kevin got sick or something. I called him and it's like, no, I'll take the gig. He went to my house. He played with us like for 2 or 3 hours, nailed every single song. Super nice guy. I told him, dude, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for taking the gig and playing with us. And I want to tell you right now, anytime if I start a new project, you'll be the very first one that I'm going to call if I need a singer. I promise you. I love playing with you, dude. And that's what I did. The first thing that I did when I called Dave was like, oh, man, I don't know. These singers, bro. I don't know about these singers. They say that they can sing this and that. But, you know, in the end,
Right,
you
we
know.
started talking about singers
Yeah.
and how we're going to find the right guy. We're doing all this heavy stuff, Sabbath, Priest deal, Ozzy, Rainbow.
so it's-
you know,
yeah.
you got to know your shit.
I sent a few links to
Yeah.
Beast of Stefano's Facebook. It's like, okay, Beast, here's a few links. Check it out. And he was like, all right, bring the guy in and let's see
Yeah,
what
let's
we
try
can
him
do.
out,
Let's
man.
try him
He
out.
sounded good on the
And
recordings.
then, you know, since the very first rehearsal, of course, we were raw at that moment. But we felt that something could
Was
happen
there,
there. You know, we could polish that. And that's
Right.
what we
yeah.
that's what it did, basically. I think that everybody felt great jamming together. Everybody felt the same, you know,
Energy, yeah.
same energy. And here we are. I think that now we are 100% really synced and on the same page and enjoying much more than being concerned about fixing stuff.
Right.
Of
Yeah.
course, fixing, you know,
Still polishing out.
yeah,
because-
polishing the
because
songs and the word.
every time we
No,
we
polishing
rehearse-
polishing the songs.
Right,
What do we
right.
do? Not us as a
No, no,
band.
no, no, no,
We
yeah,
already understood how we play together. We
Right.
already can.
Yeah, we've gotten to that point. Yeah.
I know what he's going to bring in the drums. I know Beast for a while. I know George really well as well, and Stefano, he can figure shit out so well.
Yeah, he's very good. He's a natural talent, natural singer. He's like half my age, so he's pretty fired up about it. And look,
Yeah,
he's got a bunch
he's-
of original bands.
He's the young one of the
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he's the kid
you
in the
know,
band.
He's in original bands too, and I respect that. Back then, I was like totally ruthless, man. You are not getting in my way of making it in the music business. So I get that, and I support him as long as we're able to work out our schedules. It's hard with 5 guys and you know
it is
families and
complicated.
other bands, so it is complicated.
Yeah.
But you know, he's really worked out really well. Steph sings great,
And he's extremely talented, and his passion
Yeah, he's got a good passion
That's
for
the
it.
thing, man. His passion is everything.
Right, and he's a good natural front man too. Because I've had so many bands, besides the big ones, other bands that I've had in L.A., where I had to kind of train singers, that, because they could sing, but they didn't know how to perform, and I got to work with them for months and, let them come into their own self, not tell them everything what to do and say, but, dude, you got to do this. And,
pointers.
Pointers and try to point you in the right direction or whatever, I've done that many, many times with singers because there's a lot of guys out there that are natural singers, but they've never fronted a band.
Right.
It's a whole different thing. You got to work the crowd, you got to, you got like you wearing different hats and stuff, you know what I mean? And Stefano's really come through that way.
Good.
In the videos that we've seen from a bunch of the shows we've done.
Right.
Yeah, and people dig it, man.
They love it. Yeah.
So what are some of the, again, not to give you away your whole set list and so forth, but I mean, if somebody was going to come out and see a Pegasus show, what are they to expect?
All the classics, the classic metal, the roots of classic metal. Black Sabbath, I think that we don't need to talk about that. We bring Ozzy, Dio. We bring Priest, Iron Maiden. We bring
Old Rainbow.
Old Rainbow.
Like Mike was talking about. We actually do like classic Rainbow. Like we try to do stuff that other bands don't.
Right, yeah.
And that we do well. Like Stargazer. That's like an 8-minute song, man.
And it's a
then we do-
challenge.
and Man
It's a
on the
challenge
Silver
for that
Mountain,
kind of
stuff
stuff.
like that. So, if you like Old Dio and Rainbow,
yeah.
you're going to have a good time at our show.
That's
Yeah,
great.
we
Yeah, that's a
even,
great song.
We're doing a Queensryche song.
Yeah, we got
Yeah.
Queensryche. We even got Billy Squire
Billy
in
Squire.
there.
We're doing
Yeah.
Billy Squire as
What
well.
what Queensryche song?
I Don't Believe in Love.
Yeah.
Jeff. So again, those that are not
We were talking
familiar.
about adding a second one, actually.
Again,
So that's not easy to sing.
no, Jeff. Again, those that don't know,
Very
again,
hard
That's
to
what
sing.
Stefano can do. Like
That's
his
one of
range.
the
Impressive.
cool things of having a Stefano in the band.
Yeah.
We can play whatever we
I'll say right
whatever
now,
we want.
probably from that time period, right? Of the 80s, 90s, and that era, right, with all those same bands. And that, I think some will disagree with what I'm going to say, but I think the gist is this. I think Queensryche was a very underrated band.
No
Yeah.
question.
And the musicians that are in that band, everything from, Jeff Tate or Scott Rockenfield, I think if I got it right, and,
Rockenfield.
Rockenfield, So, I mean, that whole band and the musician, they were, so, all right, maybe I'm going to reach here, but they were almost like a technical band before Dream Theater.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah,
They
they're
were
phenomenal.
phenomenal.
No, absolutely.
My
phenomenal.
favorite album of theirs is The Warning. That's before they got into all of the epic album themes,
Mind
and
crime
all
stuff
that.
and all that. Yeah.
Well, look, in the EP, the first EP that they did,
Yeah,
it was really like kind of complicated Maiden.
Yeah,
If
that's
you go
true.
back
Yeah,
and
that's
listen
true.
to it,
It
they
sounds-
didn't. The
it sounds
vocals
Maiden,
obviously
yeah.
different. It's not,
Right.
him. He doesn't sound like Bruce. He's Jeff Tate. No, very operatic.
Right, right.
And there was a couple of guys before him. The guys names escaping me. Anyway, TNT, Tony Harnell. He was like an operatic guy. They never really made it here in the States. They were a European band. But a couple of guys did it before him, but Jeff Tate really brought it over the edge
Oh, yeah.
with the operatic. I mean, it's a bit much for me sometimes. And I like Queensryche because they got complicated and very tight rhythms, and the recordings are like killer. So there's a lot of things I like about them. But that first EP is really like kind of like Maiden.
Little heavier.
Yeah, and they ended up getting
So
a big
melodic.
deal with EMI.
Yeah.
and that doesn't exist anymore. that EMI label got behind them for like 6 albums and poured a lot of money into them, and they deserved it. I'm not being negative about it. They really got a really big lucky break. Whoever their lawyer was or their manager at that time, God bless you, bro.
Good thing you know a lawyer.
Yeah,
good to have a good lawyer.
it's important.
So, guys, what I want to do is, again, want to definitely come hit something here about a couple what you got coming up here. But we got a segment on the show, Tales from the Road. So,
Oh, yeah.
So do we have a good Tales from the Road story? We've had people talk about playing gigs where the building burnt down, people shooting shotguns out of the moving vehicles.
Yeah.
We've had some crazy stories here. So, do we got a good Tales from the Road story?
Listen,
No,
Nobody here, no one can tell you.
Mike. So tell us
better-
about a Tales from the Road.
I'm gonna need a fresh drink before this.
Oh, okay,
this
yeah, all right,
story,
okay,
so
yeah.
go.
All right,
you
there
guys
go.
talk for a minute.
Yeah, no, so we'll ask Devin if you can pass your glass along there and see if Devin can help you out there. And I know this is why we're looking, folks. We're looking for a bartender on our show here. So Devin will take yeah. So but a couple things that I guess we got coming up here is so Tales from the Road.
I would say
Yeah.
that every show is different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you go to different places, different venues in different cities, and everything else. So the reception is always different.
Yeah.
We never know what we can expect. Since the moment that you get to the venue, when you get there, sometimes out of the blue, a homeless dude comes and help you out to load in and out.
No, that was your singer.
And, oh no, they never do that. They never gonna fucking do
No,
that.
singers don't do that.
Yeah.
So
No, that's the drummer.
Man, you're ragging on yourself, man.
No, because I do help them.
Singers, walk in at the last minute lugging their wireless microphone.
and they get there late.
Yeah.
They always miss the sound check.
Yeah. Yeah, drummers are always the last one because they never get the hit. And the story I always tell about drummers is I'm like, never play for a bar tab because the drummers
Yeah.
will never get access to that bar tab because it's usually, for me in my past experience, it was usually the bass player. No offense, Beast. It was because you're setting stuff up and you're tearing stuff down and you got a lot more time than just rolling an amp in, plugging it, and doing all your stuff.
Yeah, they got it easy.
Right. And then you go up to the bar and you ask and say, hey, all right, can I get a beer? It's like, all right, well, that'll be, $5. You're like, well, we got a band tab, right? Oh, the band tab's already been tapped. I'm like, we just fucking got here. I'm like,
even do that shit anymore.
no.
That's like fucking extinct, man.
So that's so the gigs and so forth. No, but that's cool. I mean, like you said, you got some fans that hang out after the show. They want to help you break down and help you carry stuff out and hang around. And unless you're Kevin doesn't want anybody touching his gear and wrapping his cables for him.
That's correct.
Right. So
Oh,
there
I
you go.
hate
That's
unproperly wrapped cable.
No,
I
yeah,
can't,
sometimes
tell
it
you how
happens.
many
It's
times I've
pretty
had to
fun,
buy
actually.
a new mic cable because someone helped me wrap it up.
Yeah, sometimes
you.
it's
People
nice.
don't know how to rap, especially at the end of the night, man.
Yeah.
oh, what
Right.
throwing it right in the bin. Fucking, we'll do a word about it later.
Tie it off in
home,
a
you
knot.
wake-
Right.
you go
right.
outside, cables.
Around the elbow. Like,
And there's fucking scrunge and shit all over it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nasty.
I'm still busting Joe's ass because of that. Because in the end of the gig, I couldn't believe grabbing whatever he could, throwing his backpack. Was like, dude,
Yeah.
wrap your fucking cables like, properly. What you doing there?
Show him some
And then the
respect.
next gig, he was like, oh my god, my cables are a fucking mess. I wonder why.
Yeah, right.
And now,
Right.
until nowadays, sometimes I see things like that on Facebook and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and I send right away to him like, dude, let me check your bag of cables. Let me see how you're doing. He's like, no, actually, I'm doing much better right now. And then he sent me pictures showing me that he's doing better.
That's cool.
And he's actually doing better. Joe, good job with the cables, dude.
Yeah,
you
we,
got
won't-
it.
we won't say last names, but he's also a sound guy too, right?
Phenomenal sound guy. Phenomenal
What?
sound guy.
And he doesn't know how to wrap a cable?
No, he learned when he became like a huge sound guy. But because when he was only playing guitar, Joe, you know that. I'm not lying here.
Wow.
He always
The truth serum is working.
He played great. I'm always joking around with the cable thing. But when he started like running sound, no, let me do my thing here. You don't need to do this. You don't need to do that because his process. I totally get that. But I remember when he ran sound for us last time. I saw him working with the cables and his stuff and everything else. Super organized, very professional. Joe is insane. He's a great guy, amazing guy, and he cares about it.
Yeah.
If he's running your sound, I'm telling you, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Go and do your thing.
Yeah, Joe.
That's it.
I've seen Joe do run sound.
He is great.
He's moving around. I've seen him do sound down at Piper's that we were talking about earlier. He's moving around. He's got his iPad. He's tuned
And
in.
he cares about it.
he's-
That's
yeah.
the thing. He's consistently checking on the band. He knows the songs. He always helping on with the effects on your vocals and everything else, boosting solos and stuff because he really wants to do a great job, and he does. He does.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
100%.
All right, Dave, you ready here?
Back for a story.
Oh yeah, we got your replenish there, and
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get into the sex stories because I don't want to offend people.
you're not going to offend me.
I got a reputation.
I know. Well, that's for the Patreon stuff. We have to pay you, right?
But I'll tell you a great story about Sabbath in Greece. This is an interesting story.
The country or the stuff in the bottle?
Now
No,
I need
Or
a
the
drink.
musical.
Greece, man.
Okay.
So
Now I need a drink for that.
So we fly to Greece. There's like a heat wave going there. It's like 900 degrees. People are like dropping like flies in the streets and stuff. Seriously. But we're in this like 5-star hotel. It was gorgeous. And the promoters whining and dining us. And, we're having a good time. And, I'm a hired guy. So you could go in with the flow, whatever, So they bring us to the venue. And we didn't even, I guess I don't remember even knowing about this, but it's an outdoor show, like a middle of the afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, there's a freaking heat wave going on, right? So we're out there, and Greece, you think of like the Acropolis, and there's pictures of us guys Sabbath guys wearing shorts, visiting the Acropolis, and, they're out there. They're on the internet.
Touristing.
Yeah, touristing and doing our thing. So we get out there, and the venue is this outside, like ancient, like outdoor arena venue, whatever. And they got a big stage set up in the middle of this barren field. No grass, just barren field. And like 30 yards, towards the front of the stage, there's all these like stone steps. Like you picture Greece, like,
Ruins
Like
and
an
stuff.
ancient
ruins,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Like an amphitheater.
It was like an outside amphitheater, exactly.
Okay.
And they got all these stone steps out there, and above them, there's like these other buildings that must have been apartments or whatever, but like really old, So anyway, we get out there and we walk up, and it's all rented crappy gear because we were just there for one show. It wasn't like a Greek tour, And they got all this cheesy rented gear, like slapped together. Like 8 different bass amps and 8 different guitar amps. It was like out of a movie. It was crazy. So anyway, we get it going. And actually, Bevan from ELO, who's Iomi's very good friend for many years, he actually was filling in for a couple shows on this. He was there at this Grease show, and it's me and Tony Iomi, Tony Martin, and Jeff Nichols on keyboards, right? And we get out there and we're doing a sound check, and all right, we made it work, whatever, So we go out there and we start playing. It must have been late afternoon. I remember it was still light out, right? So we get out there and we're in the middle of this field on this rickety stage, and I'm looking left and right. There's like these really cheesy, flimsy light poles. They had some other lights, some park cans, whatever on the top. But I'm like, man, these things look like they could just fall right on you. So we're like, and we start playing. There's only a couple of people, not even that many people, like just hanging around, walking around in front, whatever. So we play like a couple of songs, and maybe 3 songs in, we do the song Black Sabbath. Oh, bow. All of a sudden, they came out of the woodwork, down these steps, out of these windows with those apartments and everything. I don't know where these people came from. There was like thousands of people all of a sudden. Seriously, I'm not exaggerating. And we're playing, and me and Naomi are looking at each other like, what the hell's going on here? So then, that's only the first part of the story. So all of a sudden, the people are rushing the stage and shit, right? And people leaning over the stage, right? And all of a sudden, I look over, and I see people climbing these shitty light poles on both. They're actually climbing up the light poles. And we're looking at each other like, this doesn't look good. Something's going to happen here. And they had these security guys that were supposed to be Greek security guys. And they're sitting on the side, leaning on the amp, smoking their cigarette. Like they don't even see what's happening. And I'm going to this guy like, dude, there's people climbing up on the lighting poles. They just sat there smoking their cigarettes. So these guys are climbing up the poles, and then all of a sudden people start trying to jump on the stage, and they're grabbing my legs and shit. Right? It was like the Beatles, man. So it got to a point, and we're in the middle of a song, and these guys wouldn't do anything. And I'm actually physically kicking people in the head to get off the fucking stage. I'm not kidding. I'm kicking him in the head. I'm kicking him in the shoulder. I'm like, get the hell off the stage, dude. And I'm looking over at Iomi. And Iomi's like a really mellow, even-tempered dude. Doesn't you don't see him go, too emotional one way or another, right? And we're looking over, and he goes, Beast, let's go. And we just took up. That was it. They were climbing on the stage. We couldn't do anything.
Jeez.
They were jumping on the drums and
You guys
shit.
took off.
So because he did one of these, exit stage left, right? So, and we're in the middle of the field. So we whip off our instruments. I remember hurling my Spectre bass over to the bass tech up in the air. I'm like, dude, don't drop it. And we ran off. I was on the right side. We ran off the left side, Iommi side. And remember, the stage is in the middle of this field. And there's no gates, nothing, stopping people from.
The free for all.
It was a fucking free-for-all, man. Ted Nugent, right? And we get down the steps of the stage, and we have to go, got to be 20, 30-something yards from the edge of the stage to get to these dressing rooms. And people were ripping at our clothes. If I would have fallen down, I would have been trampled, bro.
Whoa.
And by the grace of God, we made it from the stage into these backstage thing, and they locked us in there, and they wouldn't let us leave. The promoter comes back like an hour later. He goes, no, you can't leave. There's a riot out here. There's a riot. Yeah, no kidding, bro. They made us stay in the dressing room. Oh, they brought in booze and food. They took care of us, but you can't leave. No way out, whatever. So we had to stay back there for several hours. And then eventually, they got us out of there, and we went back to the hotel. And then the promoter was so upset because he felt so bad about what happened. I don't know if it's his fault or whatever. And then he brought us out. They brought a whole band and all the crew out to some fancy schmancy private restaurant deal or club. I don't know what the hell. We went through all these stone walls and archways and shit. It was Greece. It's all crazy, right? And they brought us way down into wasn't a dungeon, but it was a dark thing, and you were outside again, and they had a 30-foot table set up, and they just kept bringing, fish from the ocean and food. It was like a feast like you see in the Roman movies and shit. And that was a crazy story. And I've told this story before, on some podcast, maybe not quite as in depth as today, but yeah. So that was a cool story. That was Greece. And actually on YouTube, there's no video. But there's a bunch of audio from the few songs that we ended up playing. So if you put in Sabbath, I think it was 1987, Athens, Greece, you'll come up with a few songs that we played there. And it sounded pretty good despite the crappy amps and everything, But there's no video. We'd love to see if somebody had video of that.
So
that's a good
it's just
story.
all audio, and then you guys are playing.
Just audio. It's just a picture, that just stays up on the screen while the audio plays.
So it's you guys are playing, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
Kicking people's head in front of the stage.
Well, we didn't say that on the mic.
no.
I just kept looking over. Tony, I'm kicking people off the stage here. I don't know if he was or not. I think they were afraid, to grab Tony's legs or whatever. But they were certainly going and grabbing me and jumping up there, and those guys were sitting there smoking a cigarette. They didn't do a thing.
So they're on break. They're on break.
And I'm telling you, the lighting, there were 3 people on each lighting pole. The poles are going like this.
Oh my God.
And that's when I looked over at Tony with my eyes open, and he just went I don't remember exactly. He gave some kind of signal. And he
Whatever the signal was, it was get the fuck out.
It was get the fuck out, man. We are out of here, bitch. We are gone. Wow. We are not coming back either.
Oh man.
So that's a good Sabbath story.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think anyone's topping this story now. I don't think anyone's. You ever have anybody grab at you and try to take your off your clothes on stage?
Yeah. I'm not exaggerating either, and
Well,
No.
not in a very long time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
we came down the steps.
Fantasy Fest.
Coming off the stage, it were 4 or 5 steps or whatever. And we, started dashing, for these dressing rooms. I mean, these people, they were nuts.
So you're telling
They
me
were
that
zombies.
So hopefully, if there's any music performed at a Greek Orthodox festival or event, they should never play that song because all of a sudden all the Greeks come out of the woodworks.
I don't know.
Was
man.
it like you rang the bell and all of a sudden?
I don't have an explanation. All I know is it was real sparse out there when we started playing the first few songs, and then we went into the song Black Sabbath.
Get it!
and they just came out of, I don't know where the hell they came from, man. There was like thousands of people all of a sudden, a few thousand anyway.
That's
you know.
That's the
So now
trigger
we know.
song
That's
that
it.
the government
It's the mating call.
subliminally placed on the
Yeah.
Greek people.
I don't know.
You know,
That's the
to
sign.
Yes. Played
But
by.
we, despite that, we had a good time there, though.
The Athens newsletter was like, stay on the other side of the hill until they
Yeah.
go to Black Sabbath.
So now we all know what song we have to play if you want to
Yeah.
bring some crowd
Flash
to the
mob.
show.
I mean, the food was great. The food was great. I think the day before, they brought us to the promoter or somebody who knew the area.
Right.
They brought us to this other place. It was right on the bay or the ocean or whatever that was there. And let me tell you, the driving we were in cabs, the streets are like narrow, man. And they zip around. I'm like, dude, you're gonna kill us, bro. And they're zipping around, and they bring us to this little private place, and they park, and we get out. It was a cab or whatever, I don't know. So we get out and we walk. There's like a tent that's like 100 yards long, tents put together, or whatever, And you get out of the car and you walk down this little slopey hill, and they got all these tables set up underneath these tents to block the sun and everything. And you're right on the water. And they come and they take your order, and they're like, well, it's all fresh fish. So, and I always like, just bring us your best stuff, whatever. And then they go across the street. They go up this little hill, over the little road, and they go into, I guess, was the restaurant where they did the cooking, And we took a walk. He goes, come follow me. I want to show you. And you walk in this place, and they got these giant, like, metal, like, storage containers. And they open them up, and they're all filled with ice and the fresh fish that they just caught, like, that day or the last night or whatever, right in the ocean there. In the Greek Ocean, whatever the ocean is there. And they these giant drawers, like 4 feet long. We're like, whoa, they got these giant fishes like this. And then they just pick out fish, and then they cook them, and then they bring them across. The guy carries it with a big tray, and then they come across the road, down this little hill, and then they serve you. And before that, they bring, the famous Greek salad. They bring like a thing, it's like Flintstone size, I mean, it was enough for like 50 people, And we're feasting out, and they bring all this like beautifully freshly cooked fish, man. It was like amazing. So I got a good memory of that too. Besides the people trying to kill me, the fish was great.
the food was great.
It was worth it, right? It was worth it.
It was worth it.
Fish was great.
So, that's a crazy story. So, look, we want you guys available to come back next week?
Yeah,
you guys
we
stuff
can-
going on?
we can do
so,
that.
but before we wrap up, though, what do you guys got coming up here in the next, next month or so? Any gigs, shows, things to promote, plug, etc.?
Yeah.
Next gig, next show is with Maiden. Still, we are doing this special show with these two bands. We are doing this special set with Ozzy and Dio.
Right. A lot more Sabbath than we usually
And a
do.
lot of Sabbath.
Right. Yeah, May 8th at Connolly's.
May
right,
8th.
right down the
May
road from
8th.
here, bro.
May 8th at Connolly's in
Yeah.
Royal Palm Beach, I guess, right? Royal
Yeah.
Palm?
Yeah.
In Royal Palm.
So we're looking forward to that.
Connolly's.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been
May 8th.
promoting, and they've been promoting the show a lot from what I hear. So, yeah,
You
we're
can-
we're-
you can check on-
Free show.
Yeah.
Right, that's
free
no
admission.
cover.
man.
There's no cover.
Yeah.
Free admission.
there's no
Come on
cover charge.
down. We're going to be doing a lot of old Sabbath that we've never even done before. I don't know if I should give away the songs, but
I think that we already mentioned Hole in the Sky.
yeah, Hole in the Sky.
That's a new one that we are bringing.
Right. Children of the Grave.
Children of the Grave.
Oh wow.
Because and Into the Sky, Into the Void.
Yeah, and Into the Void.
So,
Okay, so ignore
because the thing is, these three songs, they are in C sharp. So we need to switch guitars. We could use the pedals and stuff, but we like to do the thing the way that it should be done.
Yeah,
And
it's tuned
we-
way
Yeah,
down.
we're tuning in. It's C sharp's totally different. Your instrument becomes a different animal.
Yeah,
So
it's going to be cool.
we have to switch guitars, and to do that, it takes a little time. It doesn't worth doing for one or two songs. At least 3 songs. And I
Or
think-
maybe even after Forever.
and we're
going to
adding
work on that
another
one too.
So
maybe 4.
four new songs for this
Yeah.
tuning. So to justifying switching guitars and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the new thing for the new show.
Right.
Okay.
And it's challenging for Mike because he's not familiar with a lot of those songs. Some of
Yeah,
them.
I've got them. I've
he's
He
got 'em
wasn't,
down now.
he wasn't familiar with any of the songs
That's what I'm
anyways in the
saying.
beginning, right?
Mike,
So,
Mike, what do you got to tune down to?
Oh, I have to go to like sharp F.
Yeah, are your cymbals gonna work with that key?
Oh, I got specially designed cymbals for that.
Your cymbals are extra sharp on the edges to go
Extra
with that?
sharp, yeah. They keep breaking my sticks.
Good.
So, all right. So, Connolly's Royal Palm Beach there, 441, May 8th. So, yeah, just, a few weeks away there. Again, free show. And
and would it be a good idea calling them and,
because they do
reserve your
tables,
table?
right?
Yeah, they do
yeah,
tables.
Yeah.
If they still have tables available,
Yeah.
get one because I actually I don't know if they still have
Yeah.
some.
I usually just show up and I just usually lean against the wall and order my drink and then just hang out.
It's a
there.
great
So, yeah,
place.
yeah,
They have. They, like the,
I used
the
to
staff
live.
is great.
I used to live at the corner of 441 in Okeechobee.
Oh, cool.
Right
So
there,
you
the
know,
apartments.
yeah.
I've
So you know the place really well.
Yeah,
they're great.
So,
They're
yeah.
awesome.
So
Well, we
been
played
there
there with
forever.
Angels of War.
Yeah.
The Pegasus hasn't played there yet.
Okay,
No.
okay, all right.
So we're
Pegasus
real
is going to be
excited
the
for
first
Yeah,
time.
cool.
Yeah.
for Mike and Steph to come, to come jam with us at this place.
I
and
think that Steph played with his band there before.
with the other band.
Bloodshot.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But we haven't.
I guess.
Pegasus
Okay.
hasn't officially played there yet.
No.
And it's cool because we're doing it with our other buddies from Maiden Steel. It's an Iron Maiden tribute.
And that's
So-
another thing, going back and being in the band. That's the cool thing. When you are out there making friends, doing the same thing, you want to be there.
Yeah.
You want to keep this going. So these guys from Maiden Steel, we are all friends.
Yeah.
We know each other. We jam with each other.
Yeah, playing
We
gigs with
fill
playing
in
gigs
and
with
stuff.
other bands. Yeah, it's a cool.
And
Yeah.
that's the cool thing.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to do a double gig? Let's do it. Get a gig. All right. So Jerry,
Right.
the bass player for Maiden Steel, he called me. Oh, you want to do a double gig, dude? Just get the gig. Don't ask me anything. Let me know when. Let's do it anytime you want.
Cool.
And yeah, May 8th. It's going to
Yeah,
be a good
May
one.
8th. I
It's
think
going
it's a
to be good one.
Friday.
Yeah,
We're super
Yeah.
excited.
Perfect. Yeah. All right. I've got that written. I've got that written down there. So,
You can check the flyer on our Facebook, Pegasus Band. I'm working on the Instagram thing as well. I should have been done this earlier, but I had no time for that. I will. I promise I will.
Yeah.
But the Facebook's running there. So
cool.
you see the flyer there, the event page is there with the date and time and everything else.
Right. And they got it listed
out.
as like doing, classic Sabbath, Ozzy, and Dio. I think.
Yeah, that's what we are bringing.
The flyer, at least that what they made.
Good.
The
Yeah.
club made.
yeah.
Which is
yeah.
cool. People love that stuff.
Yeah, Connolly. Yeah, I know Collins is very much a super supporters of live music, the
They are.
bands,
Yes,
and
they are.
the bartenders, and
Every
definitely
single
take care of
one.
the girls there. That I know they're hustling their ass.
Yeah.
And, a few of them.
We're gonna have to play at least one priest song there. You know why? There is a guy who always goes there. He used to go there all the time for Angels of War,
Yeah.
and he's a huge priest.
Oh, we're
fan.
definitely doing those
We have to
songs.
play, at least I know Electric
Well,
Eye
we're
or
talking about
whatever.
opening even.
Oh
with
yeah,
that,
Electric Eye. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
Because we do about, I don't know, at
Yeah,
least
that
3 or
guy,
4
he's
priest
always
songs.
there for our shows
Yeah.
with Angels of War.
Right.
And I remember him always requesting Judas
No, that priest is in there.
Cool.
Yeah.
We don't just do Ozzy and Sabbath.
Yeah.
We mix it up. We keep it like they said. It's classic metal, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Classic metal. We don't venture too much away from that. We we slip a few.
One here and there.
Yeah, a little Queensryche and
So it's right. It's a kind of defined as what they call it British steel, right? Iron Maiden, Sabbath,
Yeah,
and
you
things.
could-
Yeah, I don't know if you ever
Yeah,
the term.
we
The term.
play-
I don't know.
I would say
that's the name of a Judas
Yeah.
Priest album.
Yeah,
so
that's
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
use that
Yeah.
too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
Brit-
what it
British
is.
metal or whatever. Yeah,
but that's what it is. Yeah, you got
yeah,
that right.
yeah,
Yeah, because they're all British bands,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
Well, Dio's American, obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's American, but
Yeah.
Cool.
We used
All
to
right.
play a lot of the same places before I knew him from upstate of New York because I went to college in Geneseo near Rochester. And Dio was from Cortland, I think. We used to play some of the same places. Didn't know him then, but he's from upstate New York.
Really?
It was a band called Elf,
Yeah, I remember Elf.
right?
So.
You know what I'm talking about, Ken.
Yes, I do.
So, guys, can't wait to talk next week. We've got more to talk about. We're going to dive a little deeper now, right? Next week with you guys. So May 8th there. So again, make sure you come out there. We'll post the links and so forth. And so I know for sure I'm gonna be there. So unless something happens to me, but May 8th. Again, Connolly's a great place, great venue. To see a lot of hard rock, metal music, and a lot of great bands there. Looking forward to. I have not seen Maiden Steel yet. Maiden Steel. Okay, yeah, because I think there's a couple. There's another.
Made of Metal.
That's Jimmy's band. Made of
yes,
Metal.
right. And then there's a girls band, Iron
Maidens.
That's
Iron Maidens, yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
Iron
so
Maidens.
obviously a lot of obviously Iron Maiden's a lot of influence in a lot of the bands. So, but yeah, it's a great place out there. Maybe we I don't know. You are you gonna be in town? What's your?
I just checked my schedule. I want to go to the show, but I can't. I got to be in Biloxi that weekend.
Oh, Biloxi. Okay, all right. So, so come back next week. Let's chat a little bit more there about some of the stuff going on here. More great stories right there.
Okay.
Next week, the Beast is going to talk about the time that he climbed the pyramids in Egypt after a gig. Right? No, but
Always wanted to go there, man.
hey, it's
I'm
never
like
too late.
an Egypt freak, man.
Yeah, it's the aliens built the pyramids, but Devin will tell you more about that story.
I believe a lot of that crap.
And I have a few of shirts for you guys
Oh,
here.
okay, yeah,
very
okay,
nice.
yeah.
I have Pegasus shirts
Okay.
for you guys, and I also brought the shirts for my music classes.
Okay.
So if you guys,
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah, yeah.
whoops.
Oh, yeah. You go ahead and you can do the
There
toss,
you
the
go.
t-shirt toss.
Thank you very much.
All right,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
All right.
Cool. All right, yeah.
thank you so much.
Very cool. Yeah, thanks for being on.
It was awesome being
Yeah,
here.
you
Thank
got-
you so much.
There you go. There, Pegasus. Look at that, man.
Yeah, get that logo out there.
Yeah,
There
and
you
this
go,
one
man.
too.
So Kevin's gonna wear this in his next gig. So there. So yes.
All right.
Cool.
There you go.
Pegasus. That's not what they
good
do in
promo.
Alabama, is it?
Pegasus? No, Pegasus? No, yeah.
Pegasus.
No, that's not what this means. Okay, that's a different meaning. Okay.
This is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
this is the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
Yeah, that's another podcast. So
That's a great
very
logo.
Cool. So yeah, we definitely like it. Thanks, guys. We definitely like when bands bring us shirts and merch and things they're wearing, and we've got some CDs and things and other shirts. So yeah, appreciate that. And we're out there and support other bands, and I wear the shirts we bring to us. So all right,
And what you guys do here promoting local music, this is
Yeah.
awesome as
It's
well.
wonderful.
We appreciate that very much.
Yeah, no, yeah. This is we
awesome.
love this like we said, right? It's a camaraderie show. We're hanging out, having a little bit of a drink.
And we are a small community,
Yeah.
If we don't enjoy what we do,
Right.
what are we doing here?
Right.
And
And
we have to support each other.
Right. And then when you guys know that when another band or a musician shows up to your show, that they either maybe have an off night and they come to see your show because usually they're gigging, right? It's
Yeah.
always a kind of a cool thing like,
Yeah.
oh, cool, you took your off night to come out and see
Exactly.
and support and it's
Right.
it's a cool kind
It's
of vibe
great.
here.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna kind of again I'm gonna throw something out there, Kevin, and this is April 14th, and we have an upcoming Blues Society gig that your band will be hosting on the 21st.
That's correct. Yes, the blues monthly blues jam.
That's right. Your Kevin McLaughlin band will be the host band at the Treasure Coast Blues Society event up in Fort Pierce. And then after you guys play for about an hour-ish, you'll
Play
be
for an hour, and then it's open jam after
right
that.
after. So then come on out there. Maybe we can get talk these guys into coming up and doing a little blues, maybe a jam,
do a
and come up there
little
for
feature.
So maybe you guys want to come up there and kind of
Blues-based metal.
yeah, blues at there, jam a little bit there, maybe.
Sounds good. I think we
all right,
can
well, we
pull
could
something.
talk a little bit afterwards and be interesting there.
That would
So
be fun.
That'd be something, definitely. We got some, man, some of these guys that are coming out of the woodworks. We talk about the open jams. It's like, where the hell have you been? And come
Right.
out and do their stuff. So we got
Yeah,
some
we do it once a month.
great musicians. Yeah.
And it's on a Tuesday night, so usually people aren't gigging, and real players can come out as a result. And it's been going really well.
That's great.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Let's hear you guys do some blues version of some Sabbath stuff. That'll blow people's minds. You walk up on stage and like, who the hell are these long hair guys? This is a blues gig, right? So, all right. So we time to wrap this up, huh?
Is it that time already?
It is that time.
Episode
Yeah.
has just flown by.
So I'm a little short, and
I'm just a little-
tap too.
We could.
Do we have a little
Well,
bit of?
let's break out Big Bertha here.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. we go through this. This is my shout out there to Jack Daniels. Come on, man. You see the amount of Jack Daniels that goes through this episode and these shows. You know, I think we've warranted enough of maybe some sort of level of sponsorship, you know, to kind of send our way. Come on, man. Jack Daniels is into music. We're into music. Look at this.
The thing I like about Jack Daniels is it looks just like Florida well water.
This is Kevin's sippy cup.
Let me
Reminds you of
thank
home.
you. Thank you. Yes. I like the pour safe cap that's on the top of it, so you don't pour too much out of the.
Yeah, it just takes longer to put more in.
So
They don't want you to spill it. you know?
that's
True.
That's
Spilling
true,
Jack
yes,
Daniels
that's
is
right.
cardinal sin.
It's like spilling blood.
They're
It's like,
looking
right.
out for you. You know?
That's true.
Make
yes.
sure you get your money's worth.
Yes.
Yes.
That's true.
We got the Walmart size bottle.
Yes. Our ABC.
Costco bottle. Yeah, there you go. That's huge.
ABC.
Anyway.
Always be Costco.
I'm hypnotized by the big Jack Daniels bottle.
That's what she said. Okay.
I was wondering who was going to drop that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm surprised it took
That's
this
not
long.
me saying that.
Yeah, it took this long here. So we are at another episode here, wrapping up the Riffs and Rhythms podcast.
That's right. I'm Kevin McLaughlin.
And I'm Paul Robertson. Thanks, guys, for coming on here. Again,
Here's a
we had
toast
great. So yes,
to
you,
Pegasus.
guys.
Thank you guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you very
Keeping
much.
roots metal alive.
Yes. So music camaraderie there. So
Rock and roll.
see you next week.